Oh, we haven't started.
That's what I'm looking forward to in September. Sleep Town.
Mm-hmm. Never heard of them. They good?
They're huge.
Are they?
Their genre is yes, it's everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to listen to them.
I bought 4 tickets plus fees. It was like $1,600.
Really? Good Lord.
Yeah. But they're playing at the Kia Center, so it's a big. I got decent seats.
Magistrate, and we do have some new people here today, so I'll go through the rules. First of all, my name's Lonnie Groot. I'm the special magistrate. We're going to have several hearings today. They're obviously open to the public, but they're not public hearings. So if anybody here is from the public and wants to speak like in a normal city commission or whatever board type of meeting, that's not what happens. These cases are quasi-judicial. That means they're sort of like court proceedings in layman's terms. And the city prosecutes cases before the special magistrate against respondents who are typically the property owners. And the city will present its case. And if you're a respondent, you have the ability to cross-examine the city's witnesses. And then at the conclusion of the city's case, the respondent has the same opportunity to present their case. And likewise, the city can cross-examine witnesses of the respondent. Okay? At the end of the proceeding, I'll make an oral decision. I'll spell out what the decision is, if there's a violation or no violation, if there's a fine or no fine. And within a few days, the city staff and I are really good about getting the order out. So there'll be a written order that evidences what was decided here orally. Okay, under Florida law, all testimony has to be given under oath. So let's go ahead and take care of that right now. Anybody who plans on testifying, speaking today, would you please stand up? So if you're going to speak today on a case, go ahead and stand up. No? Yes. Okay, would you state your full name, please? Yes.
Danielle Crawford.
Brian Palmer.
Each of you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matters not here be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Also with me today is Michael Bryan. With us today is Michael Bryan. He's serving as clerk to these proceedings. And what I'm going to do right off is take care of an administrative matter, which is I'm going to approve the minutes of the February 12th, 2025 hearings and the March 12th, 2025 hearings. And let's go ahead and do this too. Are these the rules you guys, the city would like to have adopted?
Yes.
Okay. And you're satisfied with them? I think I drafted the original draft. There was some edits, and you're satisfied with these rules?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to adopt these rules as the rules of the City of Cocoa Beach Special Magistrate Proceedings, and you can publish them and distribute them as appropriate. Okay. So the first case on the docket, the agenda today is case number 23-338, with the property owners being Kathy and Emerald Eberhardt, and the property address being 225 Minuteman Causeway. Okay, are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So the respondent requested this hearing today to ask for a lien reduction. But before Ms. Emerald speaks, I just wanted to let the court know, or the special magistrate know, that upon reviewing the previous case from 2023, the orders were, I have no proof that the orders were ever sent to the respondents. So
Okay.
I do believe her due process has been
Okay.
violated.
So you just want that case dismissed then?
Yes.
Okay, well, then, Ms. Eberhard? Could you stand up for just a second? This is good for everybody to listen to. Is this being broadcast?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yep.
This is something that you don't see all the time. Okay? I want you to understand that, and I hope the city understands that, the people of the city understand that. Because oftentimes, I've worked with city governments since 1985, or city and county governments since 1985, and other governments before that, legislatures, state agencies and the like. I'm not trying to give a speech here, but government doesn't always admit when there's an issue and there's a mistake. You're seeing that today, correct?
Oh, yes.
And the government is solving that issue towards a citizen's favor, okay? I mean, there's other ways it could have gone. You could have tried to reconstruct the case and all sorts of things, you know? So I just think that's not normal to see. It's the right thing to see, but it's not normal to see. So for whatever these words are worth, you ought to appreciate the city's actions in this regard. All right, so we'll issue an order of dismissal.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Okay.
All right, the next case is case number 24-95. The respondents is Twisted Tides, care of Joseph Holstein, the business owner, and the address is 211 East Cocoa Beach Causeway. You may proceed.
All right. If Michael could hit the. So sorry.
You don't have the.
Thank you, Brian. Okay. All right. So first, I'd like to enter the packet for Twisted Tides. Essentially, it's just the notice of hearing, notice of violation, a previous citation, and then just confirmation of
Is
delivery.
Mr. Holstein here? Mr. Holstein?
No, not that I
Mr.
can
Holstein?
see.
I think I've said that 3 times, so Mr. Holstein is not here. Okay, so you want to introduce the packet?
Yes.
But then so introduced without objection. Okay.
Well, if I can get it to work, give me 1 second here.
All right. Okay. I think we're having some technical difficulties with the
okay.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
You're trying to get it.
Yes.
It's a new system?
Yep.
Needs to be, there you go.
Yeah, we're troubleshooting a little bit. I guess I can proceed while
There
we.
we go.
Oh, it's working? Okay.
Bam.
Awesome. Okay. So this is case number 24-95. The respondent is Twisted Tides. The registered agent is Joseph Holstein. The address is 211 East Cocoa Beach Causeway. And this is in regard to a business, which is a restaurant. So in essence, the business owner applied for a BTR, which is a business tax receipt for the business back in April of 2024, and essentially has not completed that BTR process. There were several issues along the way, mostly related to utilities, which is why I sent a citation. to the next slide.
Sorry.
Yep. This is just an aerial view of the property from BCPAO. Sunbiz, again, just showing that Joseph Holstein is the RA. One of the violations was just a flag sign seen on many occasions outside of the restaurant, which is a violation of the code. There's another flag on another date. And the Mr. Holstein is not here. So the city is asking that the respondent be ordered to comply with the notice of violation, in essence, which would be to complete the BTR process, correct the violations in relation to the utilities violations, and remove the flag sign.
Okay. On the recommended fine, though, I think what you mean, though, is for the business tax, failure to pay the local business tax, you want the maximum penalty allowed by Chapter 205, right? Which is the $250?
Yes.
And then for all the other violations, you want the $100 a day, for the first day of noncompliance after June 13th, and $200 a day.
Yes. Yeah, we're asking for 30 days for him to come into compliance before any fines start.
Okay. Anything further?
No.
Okay. In case number 24-95, the respondent being Twisted Tides, Inc., with the registered agent being Joseph Holstein, who I guess also business owner, I'm going to find a violation of the codes as alleged, and with regard to the fines for failure to pay the local business tax, there'll be the maximum statutory fine, which is set forth in the Florida statutes. And for the other violations, prohibited signs, failure to obtain permits, and regulations relating to grease interceptor, and discharge prevention. I won't go into section by section, but they're all alleged in and cited in the docket, the agenda. I'm going to find that the respondent shall have until June 13th of 2025 to come into compliance, and should the respondent not come into compliance, the first day of noncompliance will result in a fine of $100, and each succeeding day of noncompliance will be a fine of $200 per day. And that will be the order that we'll issue. Okay?
Okay.
Case number 24-143. Kathleen Berman is the property owner, and the address of the property is 123 Sunset Drive. Is Ms. Berman here?
Yes. Yep.
Ms. Berman? Okay. You don't plan on speaking, though?
We didn't know if we were supposed to or not.
Well, it's going to be, I'll tell you what, since you can listen to the evidence, and then you can decide whether or not you want to speak. But, okay, but you'll have the right to cross-examine, even if you're not sworn as a witness, but, okay? Okay, you may proceed.
Okay. I would like to enter the packet into evidence. This is just the notice of violation, notice of hearing.
Okay. Ms. Berman, you don't have to be sworn to do this. What's been offered into evidence is the PowerPoint presentation and these documents that are going to be submitted by the city. Do you have any objection to that?
No.
Okay. All right. And you're Ms. Berman, though, right?
Yes. We're having a hard time hearing. It's like the mic,
Okay.
speakers. Should we come closer?
That'd be good, and I'll get next to, closer to the microphone. I tend to speak too loud, so I try to not be too close to microphones.
We'll just sit over here maybe. Actually, when you leave, you let that one flop there.
So the city is going to is asking me to accept into evidence the PowerPoint presentation that they're about to present and some documents that they just handed to me. Do you have any objection to that? Okay, it'll all be admitted into evidence then.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is case 24-143 for the property address 123 Sunset Drive, and the respondent is Kathleen Berman. So this case started essentially back in March of 2023 when the owner applied for a building permit, however, for the roof. But that building permit expired and the activities on the property exceeded the scope of work that was permitted. So this included some electrical work and the removal of windows. So on April 10th, really, of this year is when we sent an updated notice of violation to the respondent, just asking that the roof permits be followed through on and that new permits for all of the additional work be obtained and completed. As we found during our inspections, the missing windows, the hanging wires, a new crack in the foundation, as well as a swimming pool in unsanitary condition. Right, if we go to the next one, this is an aerial view of the property. These are some examples of the exterior of the home. So there was some trash and debris on the property that was addressed after a courtesy notice was sent. Some images of the roof and the falling fence. Next. Yep, exterior of the property, just missing some windows. Falling fence. And then these are images of the pool. All right. So if she wants to decide if I'm gonna,
Yeah, do you have anything further at this time?
no, just a suggestion.
Okay,
To the-
do you have any questions of the city, Ms. Byrne?
No, not at the moment. I mean, I
Okay.
think that being fair and.
Well, do you have anything else to present besides
No,
your testimony? That's all that's gonna be presented, so,
yes,
okay, no questions?
no.
Okay, and you still don't plan on speaking?
I think we should speak.
Well, that's
Oh,
your decision, so,
yeah, she's right, I do have more, I'm so sorry.
oh, you do have more, okay.
Yeah, so I have her building permit. So she did pull a building permit as of May 6, 2025. And so we're just waiting on one final approval before that building permit is issued. And so that was going to lead into what the city was
Okay.
requesting.
I
Yeah.
got it,
Yeah. Okay.
So that's something that maybe y'all agreed upon, so, okay, I got it. Okay. Okay. So you don't have any objection to the building permit
No.
materially, okay?
And this building permit addresses all of the remaining violations on the property.
Okay, but there's an inspection that needs to be accomplished before it can be issued.
Just one more approval from
One
the.
more approval, huh?
Yep. It's
Okay,
just
that's
a,
what we're waiting for, so you're gonna say how much time you wanna,
yes.
okay?
Yep.
Go ahead.
So the city is asking for 30 days for the permit to be issued. And after that, they have 6 months to work through their permit.
What if they don't?
If
What
they,
if she doesn't?
I didn't hear exactly what she said at that point, about the 30 days. We have
The-
30 days to,
What I heard was that from the date of the order, you would have 30 days, Ms. Berman would have 30 days to complete the building permit process and have the permit issued.
Right.
And then you're in the normal process, would be in the normal process where you have to have it completed within 6 months or extended, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, but now that what if the 30 days comes and not done, what's the fine that you would like, if any?
Yeah, so the daily fine for working, or what would that be?
No, at that time, we would do a Massey hearing, and we would request fines at that point in time.
Okay. So, fine to be determined at Massey hearing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What the city is saying is that if you were not to comply with the requirement to obtain the completion of the building permit process, there'd be another hearing scheduled. At that time, it'd be determined whether or not that was true. And if it was proven to be true that you hadn't finished the permitting process, a fine, a daily fine could be levied at that time. But right now, the city's not asking for a fine, which indicates to me that they've been working with you, which is, okay. So you understand, yes,
To my understanding, yesterday or before it was,
would you state your name too, please?
my name is Renee Kropp. I'm a longtime friend,
Okay.
acquaintance, semi-relative of Kathy's.
And you're having her today, I got you.
Yeah. Anyway, that the process, the building permit, as it stands, everything is in place with the exception of the order for the windows that the people did not include the Florida, whatever it means, what's that correct term on the windows? It's state of Florida approved,
The wind load?
their impact windows
Yeah.
stated, you can write impact windows, but it has some number like
Oh, yeah, I'm
FSA
familiar.
22, and that company didn't include that. So that's what we were waiting on right now for each of those windows that was ordered, the exact Florida approved number that matches that. And that's the only thing that's missing on the building at this point.
Well, the only thing I can say on that is make sure that the company comes through within 30 days so there's not more trouble. That's basically it, because he's given a 30-day window here.
Well, they're not gonna have.
Window of opportunity, no pun intended, but anyway.
Yeah,
Okay? Okay, so that'll be, is there anything else?
no, nothing further.
So the order that will be issued will be that the respondent complete the building permit process within 30 days. If that does not occur, that a Massey hearing will be held to determine if the violation continues, and at that time, a fine will be evaluated. Okay? That'll be the order that will be issued. All right. The next case is case number 24-176. The property owner is FDK Inc., and the property address is 140 North Brevard Avenue. Is anybody here to represent FDK Inc.? FDK Inc. here? FDK Inc. here? I've called it 3 times. No one's answered. You may proceed.
All right, so this case is 24-176.
Sorry.
FTK Inc. is the respondent, and this is for a business referred to as Jonathan's Bar. We can actually go to the next, yeah, thank you. Essentially, awnings were installed on the exterior of the property without building permits. So we've been asking that the respondent apply for the BTR and go through the permitting process as required by the city. We've been working towards this goal since May of 2024, and despite the respondent coming in multiple times to speak with various city staff, no permits have been pulled at this time. Oh, and I do have a packet to enter into evidence as well, just showing due process.
Okay. Will be admitted.
So this is an aerial view of the property. Unbiz, just showing proof of ownership of the business. And then here are the awnings in question. So if you go to the next slide, it's just more pictures of the awnings from different angles.
So the assertion is they haven't paid their local business tax and they haven't gotten a permit for the awnings.
They did complete their BTR for their
Okay,
business. They did. Yeah, I was on the
So
notice
it's
of
just the
violation.
failure to obtain a permit.
Yes.
And what's the proposed penalty? Oh, there we go.
Again, we're asking for 30 days for the respondent to come into compliance. And that if they don't come into compliance, we would request a fine at the Massey hearing.
Okay. All right, then, in case number 24-176, I will issue an order that finds a violation of the provisions alleged by the city, and that the respondent will have 30 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not obtained, a Massey hearing will be held to determine whether a fine is issued, and if so, the amount of the fine. Okay?
Yes.
Next case is case number 25-46. The respondent is Mary Goldcamp, and the address is 1350 South Atlantic Avenue. Ms. Goldcamp, Ms. Goldcamp, Ms. Goldcamp, I've called it 3 times, her name 3 times, and there's been no response. You may proceed.
So this case is this is for Mary Goldcamp, case number 25-46. The property address is 1350 South Atlantic Ave. And I would like to enter packet.
That'll be admitted.
So a little history on this case, as it's a little complicated. So on April 18th, 2012, the respondent was found in violation at a code board hearing of many of the same violations that we are here for today. This includes enumerated conditions with trash and debris over the property, structural issues, a bee infestation, and as a result, the respondent was issued a $200 citation, and the city had to abate the issues on the property, which incurred a lien. The lien was satisfied a year later in 2013. Then again, on July 30th, 2020, the respondent appeared before the code board 20-222. Oh, I'm sorry, they received a notice of violation, again, about enumerated conditions, including trash and debris and tall grass. The city, again, abated the nuisance, and the lien was satisfied 2 years later. So we're here today. If you could go to the next slide. Could you go? Okay, thank you. So we're here today as I originally saw, again, enumerated conditions, trash and debris on the property, as well as a red tag on the property. The tag stated that the property was unsafe on April 1st, 2024, and nothing has happened. 2020, I'm so sorry, April 1st, 2020. Nothing has happened in the last 5 years to rectify the unsafe condition of the home, which included a bee infestation, structural issues, and in those 5 years, the enumerated conditions grew again on the property. So on April 10th, 2025, I sent
Is the bee infestation still there?
Yes.
Is it one of those, is there a photo of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I saw another case like this at St. Cloud, that's why I'm curious.
Yeah. So I sent a notice of violation, and I've been speaking with the respondent over the phone, but there's been no action taken to rectify any of the violations. And then these are the repeated violations at the bottom. 10-5 accumulation and disposal, 10-22 enumerated conditions, IMPC 302.1 sanitation, IMPC 309.1 infestation. So these are the same violations from the 2012
So
case.
it's occupied still?
It is not
Oh,
owner
okay,
occupied.
I just saw the truck and stuff. Okay.
Yes. So here is a good picture of the bees living in the exposed exterior.
That's the beehive, I'm colorblind. So
Oh.
that strip of,
Yes, so
down the middle, that looks like little animals,
speckles.
that's the bees?
Yes, yep.
Those are big bees.
So there's the bees infestation. There's kind of a farther view of the infestation and the structural issues with the home. You can kind of see some of the enumerated conditions with the trash and debris, blocking means of egress.
And this is the way it looks now?
Yes,
4/1?
we'll have updated photos
Okay, you
as
do,
well,
okay.
yes. If you go to the next slide, it'll be up close view of the tag from April 1st, 2020. Again, some exterior structural issues. Overgrown grass and weeds. That is an image of some large items in the front yard, like
That's the front yard?
yes. That's a toilet.
Can you go back? Well, never mind, I see.
Yeah.
The neighbor, I can see what I wanted to see. In the
Okay.
next photo, either the one prior to this or the one after. The neighborhood is an okay neighborhood, right? I mean,
Yes, it's along South Atlantic, so
because
kind of
that looks like a
oceanside.
relatively nice house next door,
Yes, yep.
and this is, okay.
Just more debris. If we could go to the
Didn't
next.
mean any offense to the neighborhood, just, it looks like the houses were nice houses.
So just a pile of cinder blocks, like a desk or a bookcase in the front yard. So this is leading to the backyard. So again, just overgrown everything.
So what date are these photos?
So these are from April 10th. These are the newer photos.
These are the newer ones?
Yes.
So nothing much has,
No, nothing has changed.
it's just gotten a lot of growth.
Correct. And these images were taken from a neighboring property. This is the state of the backyard, just a lot of trash and debris, overgrown
So
structure.
on this, where are the bees in this photo? Hidden in that growth?
So I don't know if there are any bee
Along the-
infestation in the back of the property.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only seen it from the front
It's
of the
only in the
property.
front. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell the back and the front.
Yeah. So that's just the exterior structure
Okay.
with holes.
That's a boat?
Yes. Boats, cinder blocks, a lot of, like a big pile of chairs, umbrella. To the left, there's like a large pile of cans, both rusted and new.
Okay, the property representative isn't here. Let's see.
So what the city is asking for is that immediately that the respondent be asked to comply with the notice of violation, and this is due to the repeated nature of the violations.
That this is your request?
Yes.
It's obvious it needs to be immediately addressed. What fine do you suggest?
I don't know if we've settled on a daily fine amount. I might refer to,
Well, I'll tell you what I would order, unless you give me some other reason not to.
okay, Yes. Yeah, I'd like your-
$250 a day is what I was thinking.
okay, yep.
Because this is a grave concern, and where are the bees again? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the cinder blocks and stuff, that's vermin, snakes, all that kind of stuff,
Yes.
but I'd like to see just
Yeah,
out of my curiosity. because
of course. So the bees.
The situation in St. Cloud was a very long, on the back patio, a nest that
Oh,
was
okay.
like 4 feet
So the
high,
yeah.
hanging from the roof of the back porch. So if somebody would have knocked into it, they would have been, if a child would have knocked into it, it would not have been a pleasant situation. So,
And that's part of our concern because the respondent is still getting mail delivered here on a regular basis, and she comes to retrieve the mail, and the bees are right by the front door.
okay, right by the front door?
Yep,
Is this the front?
yes. This
See,
is,
I'm colored, where are the bees?
so the bees are, they're behind trees on the left side.
On the left side?
Yeah, so they're left to the front door, and if you back up,
Okay,
yeah,
okay. So, is there anything else on this?
no, nothing further.
So in case number 24-46, Mary Goldcamp, property owner, address 1350 South Atlantic Avenue. I will find that there's a violation of all these sections of the code as alleged by the city, that the property owner will be required to come into compliance immediately upon the order being signed. And how are you planning on delivering it? She picks up her mail daily. You gonna do it by mail or posting or?
Yes, I'll do mail and posting,
Okay.
yeah. She receives the mail.
I'm gonna put in the order that it also be posted, okay?
Okay,
And that should the respondent not comply with the immediate cure of the violations and the unsafe conditions on the site, that a fine of $250 per day will be imposed for each and every day of non-compliance. Is there anything further on that case? That
No.
would be the order that would be
Nothing
issued
further.
then. Okay. Is there anything else that the city would like to have heard today?
no,
All right, then we stand adjourned.
thank you.